Hi, my name is Stephanie McManus. I'm the Finance Director for the Town of Westwood. I'm giving this presentation with the goal of providing an overview of the town's current finances, as well as a preview of the 13 financial articles you'll be asked to vote on at the annual town meeting in May. This information is included in the town meeting warrant book that is distributed to all households by the Finance and Warrant Commission. There are also a number of financial presentations previously recorded during the Select Board meetings related to the budget that are available to all residents to view on the town's website. I want to thank Westwood Media Center for their assistance in making this presentation and having it available to view in advance of town meeting. The goal of municipal finance is to responsibly manage public funds in a way that supports excellent town services while protecting taxpayer dollars. This involves managing a variety of financial aspects, including budgeting, revenue collection, debt administration, and investment management. We operate on a fiscal year that runs from July 1 to June 30 and follow rigorous oversight from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue. The budget appropriated at town meeting is monitored throughout the year to ensure funds are being spent as intended. This includes a year-end accounting closeout and a review by independent auditors to determine compliance. The town has policies in place to guide financial decision-making. Incorporating these policies into the budget process helps ensure we can fund services now and plan for the future. These policies, along with a purposeful approach to conservative budget management, strong operating performance, strong liquidity, and contingent liability position, are the reasons Westwood holds a AAA credit rating from Standard & Poor's. This rating saves residents money by allowing us to borrow at a lower interest rate. The annual budget determines how and where funds will be spent in the upcoming year. It ensures that the town's obligations are funded and that residents are provided quality services. The development of the annual budget is an important part of the continuing planning process that begins each year in August and runs all the way through town meeting. The Select Board proposes a budget which is then reviewed at Finance and Warrant Commission public hearings. After community review and input, that budget then goes to town meeting for approval for the following fiscal year. The financial articles voted at town meeting address all areas of the town's finances while aligning with long-term financial sustainability goals. The overall budget is a comprehensive plan that includes the operating budget, the capital budget, and funding of different liabilities and reserves. The operating budget is the one that most affects the daily lives of residents. It covers the school budget as well as the municipal budget, including police, fire, and DPW. This funding helps ensure a continued high level of service to the community. The capital budget helps maintain the town's capital assets. These include school and town buildings, vehicles, heavy equipment, and infrastructure. We have also developed a plan for the town's current and long-term liabilities, including pension and OPEB obligations. The reserve accounts are an important planning tool and help support the town's credit rating. All of these areas of funding must balance the different needs of the community and provide services in an efficient way while weighing the impact on the tax bill. That process is a collaboration between the Select Board, the Finance and Warrant Commission, school and town officials, and town meeting to ensure the budget is developed and is comprehensive, transparent, and balanced. There are a number of revenue sources that fund the town meeting budget, including taxes, state aid, sewer enterprise funds, local receipts, and free cash. The pie chart here shows the breakdown between those different components. Property taxes remain a stable source of revenue and currently make up 80% of the town's revenue budget. We have a much lower reliance on state aid, being only 7% of the total budget, which is typical for a community like Westwood. Taxes are the town's main funding source. However, that revenue is restricted by Proposition 2.5. Developing a balanced, comprehensive budget is challenging when limited by this financial model. Proposition 2.5 is a law that limits the total amount of property tax revenue a community can raise annually to no more than 2.5% over the previous year's levy limit, plus revenue from new growth, such as new construction or property improvements. This cap applies to the total tax levy, not individual tax bills, and is designed to control municipal tax increases. A town may choose to override these limits. Overrides and debt exclusions can be used to raise revenue beyond the limits set by Proposition 2.5. These tools allow towns to invest in essential services and infrastructure while maintaining transparency and local voter control. Both must be placed on the ballot by a vote of the Select Board and must be passed by voters at town meeting. Municipalities borrow to fund essential infrastructure. This spreads the cost over time, so current and future residents share in paying for long-term public assets. When the town needs to fund major infrastructure projects, like a new school, public safety building, or major roadwork, it typically borrows money by issuing bonds, much like taking out a mortgage. This allows us to spread the cost of large projects over many years, making them more affordable. Strong debt management supports the town's current AAA credit rating, which lowers borrowing costs. In cases where a project is funded through debt exclusion, voters have authorized the town to raise taxes temporarily to cover the debt payments. These payments are added to the tax levy only for the life of the bond and then drop off once the debt is repaid. This process gives the community control over major investments while ensuring that we can maintain and improve the infrastructure that supports public services. Town meeting authorizes the borrowing of money for a specific project with a 2/3 vote. At this year's annual town meeting, there is one article on for a debt exclusion, the fire station project. The town uses a variety of dedicated funding sources to support capital articles without over-reliance on the operating budget. Importantly, these funding sources have no direct impact on the taxes. The two primary sources are free cash and meals and hotel tax. In 2017, town meeting voted to direct all revenue from meals and hotel tax into a special purpose fund, which may only be spent through future town meeting appropriations. This fund has been consistently used to support capital investments, not recurring operating expenses, and currently holds a balance of approximately $2.4 million. In addition to these sources, other restricted funds are used for specific capital needs. These include ambulance receipts, which have an unreserved balance of $1.9 million, with $1.54 million planned for use at this year's town meeting. We also have sewer retained earnings with a fund balance of about $2.9 million at the close of FY24, as well as the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust, from which only the earnings may be expended. The expendable portion of that fund currently stands at $60,000. Collectively, these mechanisms enable the town to make key capital improvements while preserving taxpayer relief and long-term financial health. Looking now at one of those dedicated funding sources in more detail, free cash. It is important to understand what it is and how it supports the town financial planning. Free cash is essentially the municipal equivalent of a corporation's retained earnings. It represents the portion of the previous year's surplus, unspent funds, and higher than expected revenues that have been certified by the state as available for appropriation. Free cash plays an important role in maintaining financial flexibility. Since it is not a guaranteed or recurring source of revenue, free cash is often used to fund one-time expenses such as capital purchases, emergency or unforeseen expenditures, or to build reserves. This approach helps avoid placing additional pressure on the tax levy and ensures that ongoing operations are supported by stable, recurring revenue sources. Now that we've looked at where the town's funding comes from, let's turn to how those sources are spent. This chart provides a high-level view of the FY26 expenditure budget, highlighting where the town's funds are allocated. As shown, the largest share of spending goes towards the operating budgets, which includes both the school and municipal departments. These budgets provide for the core services our residents rely on every day: education, public safety, public works, and community programs. Our goal is to maintain stability and predictability in operating budgets to support consistent service delivery year over year. In addition to operating budgets, other key categories include fixed costs, such as employee benefits and insurance, sewer operations, debt service on previously approved capital projects, and other planned capital investments. This balanced approach ensures we meet both our short-term needs and long-term responsibilities. In summary, the FY26 budget is balanced and structurally sound, reflecting the town's continued commitment to responsible financial stewardship. It has been thoroughly reviewed and is recommended by both the Select Board and the Finance and Warrant Commission. Our approach is grounded in long-standing fiscally conservative practices, structuring budgets we can sustain, budgeting revenue cautiously, and deliberately building reserve accounts to prepare for future challenges. This careful planning ensures we can maintain essential services even during times of financial disruption. The result is a budget that supports the needs of today while safeguarding the town's long-term stability. We can move forward with confidence in a financially strong, resilient, and well-managed community. This slide provides a summary of the key financial warrant articles being presented at this town meeting. Articles 1 and 2 are our standard annual items that close out the FY25 budget using transfers from available funds. Article 3 is the FY26 operating budget, which supports high-quality municipal and school services. Additional detail is available in Appendix D of the town meeting book. Articles 4 through 6 and 8 through 10 represent our capital plan, covering essential equipment and facility needs for both school and municipal departments. Thanks to strong available reserves, we are able to go beyond the base capital plan using free cash and meals and hotel tax revenue. Borrowing articles include a zero-interest MWRA loan for sewer improvements, which is Article 7, and the proposed fire station project, which is Article 14. Article 14 would be funded through a debt exclusion, requiring approval at both town meeting and the ballot. Articles 11 and 12 continue our disciplined contribution to reserves, including to the stabilization fund, our savings account, as well as the OPEB trust to manage long-term retiree benefit obligations. Finally, Article 13 proposes a $300,000 one-time appropriation from free cash to support tax relief for qualifying seniors through the Aid to the Elderly Fund. These articles reflect a balanced approach to meeting current needs, investing in infrastructure, and protecting the town's long-term financial health. Article 1 is a budget supplement to clean up the current fiscal year. It has one item that will transfer $192,000 from the Finance and Warrant Commission Reserve Fund to supplement and close out the snow and ice budget. Article 2 is also a current fiscal year budget supplement. We are requesting a total of $455,000 to fund the listed appropriations. The first two items are for the police department and fire department salary budgets. It is typical for the town to have a supplement in public safety budgets due to the nature of the operations of those departments and the fluctuations that occur throughout the year. The total for these two items is $335,000 and is funded with free cash. The third item is a standard supplement to cover expenses for ambulance services and equipment in the amount of $120,000 funded with ambulance receipts. Article 3 is the main operating budget for both school and municipal services. For FY26, the proposed operating budget is $120.3 million, which is a 4.1% increase over the current year. As shown in the chart, the largest portion, $59 million shown in blue, is allocated to the schools, reflecting our continued investment in education. The municipal budget, shown in red, totals $26 million and supports a wide range of essential services, from public safety to public works and community programs. Fixed costs, including employee benefits and insurance, make up $23.8 million, shown in yellow, while debt service is $7.2 million, shown in green. When we reach Article 3 at town meeting, the moderator will walk us through Appendix D for a more detailed line-by-line view. It's important to emphasize that passing the operating budget is essential to ensuring continuity of town services. Everything from keeping our schools running and roads maintained to paying our first responders and maintaining public facilities. Without an approved budget, the town cannot legally expend funds, which could disrupt services and daily operations. This article is truly the foundation of our financial plan for the upcoming year. The capital articles being presented reflect the town's ongoing commitment to maintaining and investing in our public buildings, infrastructure, and equipment. Articles 4 and 5 make up the base capital plan, totaling $1.53 million for municipal needs and $1.14 million for school needs, both funded by free cash. These are critical investments to preserve the value and functionality of town and school assets. In addition, we have a series of supplemental capital articles. Article 6 proposes $75,000 for sewer capital, funded with sewer retained earnings. Article 7 seeks $500,000 in borrowing through a zero-interest loan for additional sewer work. Article 8 totals just over $1 million for various capital improvements, funded by ambulance receipts and cemetery trust earnings. Article 9 includes $1.25 million of improvements funded entirely by meals and hotel tax, and Article 10 adds another $920,000 funded again by free cash. A full list of the projects and equipment included in each article is detailed in the town meeting book. These investments are carefully planned, responsibly funded, and essential to the continued reliability and safety of town operations. They also have zero tax impact. Article 11 is the annual appropriation to the stabilization fund. This is the town's main savings account and is an important component of the credit rating we receive. The article asks to transfer $125,000 from free cash to the stabilization fund. This will help maintain the target balance in that account set by the town's financial policies. Article 12 is funding for the town's OPEB liability, the other post-employment benefits for retirees. The annual appropriation into that account for FY26 is $1.59 million. We are currently on target with the funding plan. Both the stabilization fund and our work on the OPEB liability are important factors in the town keeping its AAA bond rating. Article 13 proposes a one-time appropriation of $300,000 from free cash to bolster the town's Aid to the Elderly Fund, which provides direct property tax relief to qualifying senior homeowners. The fund, established by town meeting in 1999, currently supports about 55 residents annually, with each receiving a $1,500 tax credit. To qualify, applicants must be 70 years or older, meet income guidelines tied to the state circuit breaker threshold, and own their home in Westwood. This would be the town's second contribution to the fund, following a similar appropriation in 2022. This funding would help sustain the program and continue support of our senior residents with no tax impact, since it is funded from free cash. Thank you all for your time, attention, and ongoing engagement in Westwood's financial planning. I hope this overview has been helpful in understanding both the town's strong financial position and the key articles you'll be voting on at this year's town meeting. Our goal is always to present information clearly, support transparency, and make it easier for residents to participate in these important decisions. Additional details can be found in the supplemental financial information section of the town meeting book and on the town's website. Thank you for your interest and continued support.